All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back here on MCubed. Of course, I am Schmook here with my buddy Brad, and of course, we're going to be going over the brand new series here on Disney Plus, Moon Knight, because it just premiered last week. Episode 2 is on the horizon.
Yep.
Yeah, Brad, say hello to the good old fans.
What's going on? I'm happy to be back after we just posted the Batman review, and I know that's I guess maybe a little bit behind the times, but it still hasn't been a full month yet, and we didn't know exactly what format we were going to do it in. So I'm happy that's up, and I'm happy to be in just a better position overall than from last winter to where I can be making more like shows. Not that it took a lot, but I don't know. Got very stressed and busy with kind of real life stuff, but
Right.
Again, these are our normal conversations, so I love it.
Right. Again, we just talk like this on the daily, so might as well record it when we have the opportunity to. And like we want to be a little more consistent for y'all. We want the channel to grow, honestly. But yeah, I guess we can just go right into it. If you're down, Brad.
I think, okay, one thought. I know I said beforehand that I really want to follow your lead on this, but I think one thing we could touch on to kind of set it up, because for me, it is such a blank slate. We should talk about our reactions briefly to each of the shows leading up to this.
Yeah, I'm down.
And then kind of get into Moon Knight properly.
Okay. No, yeah, let's do that first then. So before we get into our review of the first episode, let's go over the very first MCU Disney Plus show we got, which was WandaVision.
Yeah. Dude, WandaVision was sick for me, at least the beginning, like the first several, I would say the first like 5 episodes. There's only how many total?
It might be 6 or 7. I'm not too sure on that number.
Either way, the first like 2/3 are awesome episodes, like the different time periods portrayed through the different like cinematic like styles and techniques. I thought was brilliant. The first episode's really creepy, when they're at the dinner and it's all like it becomes very surreal and again very weird, very creepy. Reminded me of like David Lynch or the Twilight Zone kind of mixed together. I was like, this is awesome. And then I think it really went down the rails when you realize that I think whoever the showrunner was, I know it is someone that didn't really read the comics or something like that, or didn't like know a bunch of concepts from the comics. I don't know. I think it fell completely flat. And what I loved so much at the beginning is, definitely the inferior show in the MCU, like again, the MCU television side. But I think overall still basically positive. I just can acknowledge that it's not very good in terms of like a wrap up. As a whole, it's not good, but like those first few episodes are amazing.
Right. No, I agree with basically everything you just said. Like I really like the first like 4 to 5 episodes. Again, I'm not really sure how long it went for, but basically up until it was like The Office or like mockumentary type of series they were going for, because like what that show is, going over all these like different eras in TV. I really enjoyed like the 30s and 40s part, like the 50s, 60s.
Yeah.
Like the 70s, 80s. I thought that's where it's at, like its highlight. I did like the Halloween episode as well.
Yeah.
So basically the Halloween episode, which was like the one after we saw Evan Peters Quicksilver come in, that was the last episode I really enjoyed. I didn't really like the whole Agatha Harkness, having her in this show. Like a lot of the problems I think with this show is just like high expectations, because like it starts off unbelievably strong and it seemed like it could have been Mephisto, and then like it seemed like it was
could have gotten way metaphysical.
Right. And then it was supposed to also seem like, well, I know Feige said it was supposed to be very connected to like the new Doctor Strange movie. So we thought it was gonna be very multiverse connected, and like especially when we saw Evan Peters. So that's kind of just a slap in the face when it was just a boner joke or whatever.
They ended up not touching the multiverse at all.
Well, again, I think the only thing that makes
the kids, right?
Is just the kids, right? Because that's what's going to turn Wanda, I would say, and Multiverse of Madness is wanting to get her kids.
And it is like, where did they come from, actually?
Right. Again, I think we got really good performances out of like Elizabeth Olsen, who I think is excellent as this character. Yeah. Paul Bettany is always great as Vision.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I just think it was great to see Evan Peters as Quicksilver again, even though it wasn't really him. But I think Kevin Feige might have him in this Multiverse of Madness movie for all we know.
Maybe.
Because like Wanda can just be like, oh, it's you again. She's like, he can just be like, what? And it's actually Pietro or Peter from that universe. I think that's all we need to talk about for WandaVision. Overall, good show. I mean, we can obviously go more in depth with it. Once we have all these shows, we can easily do like a big video for all the Disney Plus shows. But again, we just want to go over like our quick thoughts, what we think so far of these MCU Disney Plus shows before we get into Moon Knight. So we might as well get into the next one, Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I think is I'd say it's a slight step up from WandaVision. Both these shows, I think, had an unbelievable start and then have a little bit of a shaky ending.
I would say that this is far more positive though.
I agree. I mean, again, I just like the interactions, of course, between Bucky and Sam. I love getting Zemo in there, and he's actually Baron Zemo, and he has the mask. Like, his costume, I think, is sick. I think that's the best episode of the show where you see him dancing. I think that's
Pretty great.
Unreal.
Pretty sick.
Because you also have Sharon Carter in there, and she's a badass in there. I really do like the suit that they give Sam Wilson's Captain America. I think it looks really good. I think it's very comic accurate. So that's a highlight. I think it had some trouble at times with its story as a whole. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it just wasn't that interesting at the end of the day. But
I had a thought about it.
Yeah.
So the way that I thought of this pretty immediately is that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier has the Batman problem. Its story totally loses you when it tries to become like this political statement,
Right.
when really it's not making any statement at all because it's not that smart. For me, I really enjoyed the show and even the antagonists, like the Flag Smashers, as a concept.
Agreed.
Like, that's very interesting because they are this, like, you know, multicultural or like multi-ethnic kind of like, it's like international like terrorist cells, or they have very specific and clear political aims. But because Marvel is ultimately owned by a corporation, and because these corporations have to enforce certain like ideologies, the writers of these shows may not necessarily obviously be someone with an actual political like statement that's intelligent, and this writer was not, because you have like the Flag Smashers. It's not even memorable. Like, I can't even literally remember how they ultimately fail. Again, they're interesting as a concept. Same with like the political thing with like Sam Wilson like giving some like, the speech is so terrible because it's saying so many words with saying nothing of substance, like not one real sentence, where it's like he's like lecturing the politicians, and it's like, bro, the producers of this are like the same people that like pay off these politicians. It's like it's all the same like globalist, you know what I mean? Like this globalist, very like totally safe. It's quasi political.
Right.
It's nothing deep. It's just very surface level, trying to be deep.
And therefore, it doesn't really mean anything. So it's like, bro, it's just a waste. So again, I know that was longer than it should have been, but that's my like ultimate only real reason why the show isn't more memorable for me, because I think US Agent's sick.
Unreal.
Their chemistry is sick. I love Bucky and Sam. Like, that show genuinely had me laughing and feeling like their camaraderie. I love Zemo. Again, US Agent. Elaine is in there. Fucking Elaine.
Right.
That's incredible that she's in the Marvel Universe. Again, implying before the tragic death of William Hurt that there was going to be, and there still will be, probably a Thunderbolts. But in any case, like there's a lot of potential in that show.
I see it.
And again, I think the plot itself is what breaks away and is not interesting to me. Again, like the Batman. But it's like the characters and like the performances is what like makes you stay, or like makes me like it. And obviously the Batman is a better quality cinematic project than Falcon and Winter Soldier. Just had to say that. But
It's true.
It's a similar type of like takeaway for me. And that's what I'll say about it.
Right. I will go off what you said though. Like, they probably will still lead into a Thunderbolts show or something, but I think it would most likely be a Dark Avengers now instead of a Thunderbolts.
Yeah. And possibly throw in like Norman Osborn as the leader instead of Ross.
Yeah, which is so tragic, because we were definitely going to get Red Hulk. We might get him in She-Hulk, but it will just amount to nothing. Because I mean, he did film scenes, you know, but
yeah, and you could just say that like he's permanently stuck as Red Hulk, and then you never have to worry about it again.
And they could just do a swap with him and Abomination, I suppose. Because I mean, they're already like teasing like an involvement with Abomination since Shang-Chi. But just to close off on Falcon Winter Soldier, I think the easy like big highlight from this show is easily Bucky and Sam's relationship, as well as US Agent. Agent was perfect in this show.
Isn't that Kurt Russell's son?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Wyatt Russell, I believe, is his name. That's awesome.
So dope.
I always know the one episode where he literally murks a guy with Captain America's shield.
Intense. And dude, and his friendship with Lamar.
Oh, wonderful.
Dude, it's great. It's tragic.
Like, those are just brothers in war, you know? And like,
it's a tragic death, man. I was like, dude, oh no, like he's done. Like, he's going off the edge because of that.
And I liked his suit throughout the whole show. I liked read him trying to be a Captain America like replacement. But then I really like how it's just like, you know, it's obviously just a simple fix of changing the blue to black, but now he's like US Agent, which is cool. Because of course he was supposed to be the new Captain America. I think that's really it for Falcon and Winter Soldier. But
yeah, ultimately way more positive than
and of course,
than
like
Wanda.
Again, what we plan to do in these videos, like again, like this is supposed to eventually just be a Moon Knight review, but of course we just want to go over a little bit what came before.
Again, I think it's necessary just to set up at least where I'm coming from with Moon Knight, because it's everything else is familiar characters and a lot of buildup. But as we'll see, Moon Knight's a different animal.
Of course. But again, like our plan is to do a full like recount and like review of like every phase of Marvel, and then when we get to our phase 4, a good chunk of that's just going to be the movies, but then we'll probably go a little deeper into these shows, and of course give like a rating, because of course we haven't been doing ratings so far, just that we overall just enjoy it or not. I guess let's just go on to the next show, which I think is the best one by far. Moon Knight I think has potential, but we're going to go into Loki, which is a masterpiece of a show in my opinion.
Dude, yeah. And I honestly find myself disagreeing with a lot of like comic reviewers and stuff. This is a very random example, but like one of my favorites is a guy named Nerdrotic. And like he was saying how it's very much like they basically do like a character assassination on Loki. And I'm like, I get people that say something like that, but at the same time, like we are fans of like the larger Marvel universe, and what this does for the universe of like the Marvel literal like universe itself, like the structure of it metaphysically is so cool. I do like Loki, and Hiddleston is fantastic and Owen Wilson's fantastic. And like the character's journey, I think is fascinating.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And the concepts that are brought in to tie into, I think, as we've discussed, this one is obviously the most important to phase 4.
Oh, easily.
Like, so it's like, bro, I just respected the hell out of that. And I will always have our memories of watching every episode. And like, bro, sitting in here in this room, watching it on the TV, like, bro, I was riveted. I was riveted watching that. And it was actually the most emotional of the shows. Watching this Loki's journey, like he's forced to like have a perception of time and space, like just be altered in an instant. And all of a sudden he like, now he's outside of his own time loop and all of this stuff. It's like, bro, I just think it's awesome. Again, and it's not a character assassination in my opinion. I don't fully disagree with someone arguing that in a way, but it's just a story about a variant of Loki. This is just what happened to this variant, you know?
Right. No, but the second it gets to the point of like these variants being introduced to us as the audience, like it's a whole multiversal thing. This Loki comes directly from the first Avengers movie, and he's just out of his own time and space at this point, being with the TVA, or what's it called again? Do you remember?
The TVA. Yeah.
TVA? Okay.
The Time Variant Authority or something.
Something like that. Right. He just brought out of this time, and like everything he knows is just completely warped now. When like some guy in a little cubicle has a drawer filled with Infinity Stones, and he's like, dude, nothing matters anymore. But then you see this journey where he's like, he gets to the end, he's like, hold on, because
he's shown his own death.
Right. He's shown his own death. Like I love that first episode. But then we get to the point of meeting Sylvie, which is the female Loki, and they form a relationship of some sort,
which I think is so interesting as a narrative concept of falling in love with the opposite gender version of yourself.
Right. But like again, like
that's insane.
Well, this is a Loki again that like again going back to what I said with the Infinity Stones, like he realizes this stuff doesn't matter. But as we get to the last episode, it's like he realizes, oh, everything's being kept in this balance for a big reason. Where Sylvie kills it's Kang, but it's a different variant of Kang, the one beyond or whatever. I can't remember what they he gets killed, and Loki literally comes back to the TVA, and he is terrified talking to Owen Wilson's character, and it gives me chills. I'm like, Tom Hiddleston, you are an unbelievable actor. And then
because he is so serious. Even before she kills Kang, he's like, do not do that. Like, you don't understand what you're doing.
This could literally destroy the universe as we know it.
Everything, not just ours.
Yeah, no, it's sick. And I just love just Owen Wilson's character being like, who are you? Like they went through this whole journey together, becoming friends. And like Loki, he doesn't even remember Loki, and that it's heartbreaking. And then we see Kang the Conqueror's statue in the TVA. It's like, oh my God, the FCU is getting crazy now.
Dude, they're going to get fucked.
Oh yeah. Kang's going to make Thanos look like a bitch whenever he's there. And I can't wait.
It's nuts. So, as you can probably guess from our excitement, Loki by far the best. And that might be controversial to a lot of people. I don't know. I'm on like the DC kind of Twitter, like the Snyder Twitter, but
Right.
I'm not on anything Marvel.
The
So
only
I don't
thing-
really know what the most popular show is, but Loki's by far the best in terms of like how it connects to everything. The performance I think is the best with Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. Come on.
Owen Wilson's fantastic in it. But like again, like what I've seen based on Twitter or like as opposed to like reactions in general to this show, it seems to be more on the top tier. A lot of people still like have this idea in their head that WandaVision's the best one because it came out during a time of like we weren't really getting anything, and then like and that's what we were able to turn on once a week and have something awesome to watch, and it was really good. I think it's the same thing with like the Batman, where people are just so like fascinated and blown away by the beginning of these things and like can't really put away their like goggles that makes them think it's a much better thing than it is. Where with Loki, for me, it was easily my least hyped show that they announced because I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to get some Loki show based on this Loki that we just saw in Endgame that took the Tesseract, right? And I'm like, okay, whatever. Then we got the first episode. I'm like, oh, this could get interesting. Like, this is going to go into the multiverse, no question.
Oh, yeah.
First episode goes over like the whole like thing about a multiversal war, you know? And it's like,
and keep in mind, because the most we get of his character in Endgame is only in reference to time travel alone, because time travel still implies like within one universe, like you're following what happened in this reality. But now, again, I did not think it was going to go multiversal.
I agree.
That's why I wasn't as interested, because I was like, well, if it's just time travel, I thought that his story wrapped up in a very like sad and cathartic way
with Infinity War.
Yeah. So I'm like, why now alter it?
Well, I agree, but then we get this Loki.
Exactly.
Like, this is my favorite version of the character now. As much as I loved his whole journey within like the first 3 phases of the MCU, but now where he is now, it's unbelievable. I can't wait to see him possibly in Doctor Strange. I know it's like rumored he would be in it a while ago, but like once he's able to tell, like I think he could be an after credits scene at the very least where he talks to Doctor Strange.
I truly think he'll be big in Quantum Realm movie.
Quantum Mania.
Quantumania,
I agree. I think that's actually gonna be a bigger movie than we think.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be the bridge to Kang.
Well, that's where we officially see Kang for the first time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's when he'll, it'll be like the fine, I'll do it myself moment where he's like, all right, now that I'm free, like I've realized that he was probably imprisoned or something by the benevolent Kang, where he was imprisoned and he didn't realize what time like was, and now he's like aware again, something like that. I don't know. I think it'll be in the end of that movie. It'll tie
Loki and Ant-Man and the Wasp together.
No, I agree.
Anyway,
so I guess to end that little discussion, again, for me, highest rated by far. I love that show.
No question. I'm in the
and I don't watch a lot of shows either.
Right.
But we watch like the Disney shows mostly.
Yeah. Overall, I love that show. I think, a better idea where they go from that point in Loki when we get the Multiverse of Madness. Also, we're supposed to be getting a Loki season 2, which as of right now is the only one officially confirmed for season 2 out of all the Marvel shows. Because I think Marvel understood that was the show that's like actually has huge story related stuff to the MCU as a whole. Where, of course, with WandaVision, like it involves her kids and what goes down with the new Vision. Falcon Winter Soldier, obviously, with having a new Captain America. But this one literally is making what the new Avengers movie is going to be, which is dealing with Kang the Conqueror. So, awesome show. But we can just go into What If. I know you probably haven't really watched it.
No.
But I've watched every episode. I think overall it's okay. I think the animation style could be a little better.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it.
It looks good in certain episodes, I will say. 2 episodes I know I can always remember and I really, really enjoy. It's one, it's like what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands or something like that, where it's if Rachel
He becomes like the Dark Strange.
Yeah, it's where Rachel McAdams' character, she dies and he keeps trying to do whatever he can to save her, which is
and so no one's like, he doesn't have a good influence basically.
Right. And then he becomes legit sorcerer, like Supreme. Like this is Supreme Strange that we will see in Multiverse of Madness most likely, which is cool. Like he literally dooms his whole universe in his reality, which is crazy. So he might try to do what he can to get her back. Oh, he's possibly gonna see her in this universe, and that could start a whole thing, which will be nuts. But yeah, that's an awesome episode. And I like the zombie episode because I like Ant-Man just being
Marvel Zombies is tight.
Yeah, just Ant-Man being a floating head because of the cloak of levitation. Love Spider-Man as well in there. We actually get an Uncle Ben reference in the MCU for the first and only time. Actually name dropped because if we get some references in like Far From Home, for example, because Peter has his briefcase. But yeah, that's really it for me. I mean, I like the end of that season though, because it also has like a team up movie of like, it's like its own a little, it's like the multiverse Avengers kind of, where you get all
Right,
the different
right.
characters come together that we were watching this whole time. So it's pretty cool. Well, I
Well,
guess
I've heard that we'll see Captain Carter in Multiverse of Madness,
right, most likely, and
which is
cool.
sick.
I think she's a cool character. I like that episode, but I think that was one of the weaker ones. Again, I think overall it's an entertaining, fun show, but it's nothing like
The reason I didn't watch it because I knew I didn't have to watch it.
right. I will say you should watch the Doctor Strange one. That's
Right. Okay,
I
that
think
one
that-
is connected to the film.
that's the
Yeah.
one I would watch no matter what. Very enjoyable show, but again, it's not low key or it's. I think it's my least favorite out of these ones we have talked about. But yeah, we can just go into Hawkeye. I don't know if you watched Hawkeye either.
I've only seen 2 episodes. No, it was the first and the last. We
Crazy.
watched the last one at Sours, and we
Oh,
watched it
right.
at Sour House. And
Right.
then we watched one, I'm pretty sure. And bro, it was just a different quality level than the other ones. And I didn't think it was that good. Like Renner just didn't even seem like he was trying that hard.
No, I will disagree. I think Renner towards the middle of it because you missed the meat. You got
Yeah.
the bread within this sandwich.
Yeah, I just
Um,
ate bread.
But I think like when you get to like the lettuce and the tomatoes, I think Renner actually does a pretty good job in this. I actually like
Because I like him. Yeah, I like him. It just felt like the director and whoever was writing and directing, it just felt like it wasn't like as intense as you can get Renner, you know?
don't get me wrong. This is easily my second least favorite of the shows. Like I have it maybe ahead of What If, but that's it. Because I like WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier more. And of course I like Loki more. Again, I like what's the Hawkeye's the new Hawkeye? I can't remember her name.
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. Thank you. It's cool to get Fisk back, which is a big thing. We get Echo, which is cool, which all this is going to lead into having a Daredevil series again. Because I think Echo is going to have a heavy amount of Fisk and Daredevil, and that possibly She-Hulk as well, at least for Daredevil. Well, the cool thing with this, though, is that they seem to be going like pretty comic accurate with Fisk to a point.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say was hype.
I like that he's like, I don't know, he's just wearing these floral shirts and
Like the certain, I've seen those covers.
yeah, but in that comic line, that's the one where he like he gets shot in the eye by Echo, which is what happens at the end of this finale, and he loses an eye, and that's what no one understands. It's like this is more supernatural Wilson Fisk, who can actually like take these sorts of beatings and be like, who can literally like rip car doors off, you know, like
Yeah.
we're like in the Daredevil show, he's obviously like a force, you know, but he's not like this more supernatural type of force, you know.
Yeah, basically super powered.
Right. It's like he's not like Captain America or Spider-Man strength, but he's going to have some like more than human type of strength you can have. I look forward to what we see from Fisk in the near future, as well as Echo, because those are easily going to lead into some Daredevil. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters, hands down.
Yeah, I've always been at least just a fan of Daredevil as a concept. I don't know too much about him, but I love that this will connect to the MCU Daredevil, which is awesome.
All right. I guess we can get into what this video is supposed to be about, huh?
We'll change the title now to be like Moon Knight in the context of all of the MCU shows.
Right.
I don't know. I just felt like, again, for context, I feel like that was an interesting discussion to have before.
No, I agree. It's like just where we would place it so far. Of course, we only have one episode to go off of, but like, if the rest of the season's like this first episode, we're in for a treat, bro. This is easily my favorite pilot, I think, from the shows. It's this or Loki. Because again, it's like a character I'm not necessarily like super well knowledged on, you know? Or like,
no, not at all. I don't know that much at all.
But I've always been super fascinated by the character of Moon Knight. He's really cool. He has an awesome costume design. Like I like it in the comics and in the show. Because I was talking to someone yesterday how like in the comics it's definitely more like just just a white suit, kind of Batman like with a
that
hood.
he puts on. Yeah.
And this, I think it's definitely cool to have it be like a mummy / the Invisible Man meet Moon Knight.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, I guess we can just get into the episode as a whole. Like, it's very interesting how it starts off, where it's like you get Ethan Hawke's villain character just listen, like he listens to some music, drinks some water or vodka or something. Then he just crushes it with his cane, and then he puts his glass into his slippers, and then he walks out, which is an interesting way to start the show.
Yes.
But then right after that, we get into meeting one of our main characters, Steven.
Well, for one, I loved seeing Ethan Hawke in this. And for the other people that are watching this is the one of the only really cool things I've done in my life is I did meet Ethan Hawke and talk to him for like a couple minutes. You know, we were taking pictures of him at this event. Like I was doing the press. So I'm a big fan of his outside of this, and it was awesome to meet him. So it was sick to see him in something comic booky. And I think that, you know, in a conversation that's not like, you know, an interview, I think he would probably agree that I wish he could have gotten more lines that weren't like a super generic villain. You know, he doesn't really get to act. Like he's just kind of there. It's just a vague introduction because of course it is all about Steven. That's just my one note. I was like, I really want to see him get really intense like he can, because Ethan Hawke's one of the best. So
I'm with you 100%. But again,
so I'm anticipating this villain.
Right. Again, it's the first episode, and I think this episode was meant for us to get to know Steven and what he's going through when eventually dealing with his identity disorder, basically. When he starts hearing these voices in his head with obviously the spirit that is inside him and Mark's body.
Isn't it like Khonshu?
Khonshu, right? But then he starts hearing Mark's voice and like, or he starts to learn stuff throughout the show, being like, "Why I don't remember doing this," or like, "What's this phone in my apartment with like a ton of missed phone calls?" Like he has no idea what's going on, and
he thinks it's his insomnia, but
in reality,
like his narcolepsy, right? I mean, basically narcolepsy, but in reality, it's a split personality, which is so cool. When he's not the conscious one, he just thinks he's asleep,
right?
But he's just Mark at the other time.
I have a few ideas of where they're going from this episode. I think the next episode could mostly be a Mark episode.
Where we could basically see the events, but his side.
Yeah, right. Where I think it'd be a mix of what we got from last episode, but from Mark's perspective, as well as
his own stuff.
Right. And what happens after where we saw him at the end of the last episode taking on the jackal, right? But I also think there's most likely a third personality in there that comes out.
And that one's Mr. Knight, right?
And that will be a Mr. Knight. I agree. Unless they go a different route where I think it could be Steven being Mr. Knight when he starts to harness these powers.
And it's not just
Mark. Yeah, and Mark is actually Moon Knight. Interesting. See, again, I don't want to speak too much on it. And I mean, I've never met someone that's like, dude, my favorite character is Moon Knight. But
Moon Knight's really cool. Like he
is sick, and I want to respect that. Like, again, for as much as I read into comic book stuff, like he just doesn't pop up that much.
Well,
I really want to read the specific run that this show is based on. I would like to read that because the artwork is great too.
I agree. I really want to read some Moon Knight comics. I know I think it's like 5 minutes into the show, there's like a QR code somewhere in the background. If you do it on your phone, it'll take you to the very first issue that Moon Knight's in, which is Werewolf by Night.
Nice.
That's his first appearance.
So you can actually read that first issue, which is really cool.
They should just do that at the end of each show, is be like, read these comics.
Right. But again, I really love Oscar Isaac in this. I can't wait to see him more as Mark than Steven, but he's doing like I've already fallen in love with the Steven character.
Yeah.
Because I think he's just such a sweetheart kind of guy. He's just trying to do his job, like go home, not be a freak, also try to make a date. But then he keeps waking up in these weird situations, which keeps him from doing that. And when he went from Thursday to Sunday and like that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And he missed a whole date within that time. He realized his fish had 2 fins now instead of only 1. Which of course means that the fish most likely died, and Mark kind of cares about that. And he's like, I'll get Steven a new fish, which is cool. But yeah, I think with Ethan Hawke, of course, I think we're going to get a lot more of him in this show. I think the first 3 episodes are going to be a lot based on this character of Mark/Steven, getting to know them as well as Khonshu. And then, of course, some action involving Moon Knight himself. But I think once we get deeper into it, we could see some other stuff. There a lot of people are speculating we might get Dr. Doom in this show, which could be crazy.
Yeah, I saw that he could have appeared in Latveria.
That's possibly where he woke up.
Yeah.
Because like you see this castle in the background could easily be Doom's castle. The ice cream truck or whatever he's in has it's like a DRD type of like just wording. So like obviously the Doom part's like a little blocked out, but a lot of people are kind of thinking that could be a Dr. Doom like shipment container or something.
Okay. I guess it would just be a cool reference. I don't see how that would really connect at all.
Who knows?
Like connect to Doom personally, obviously be just an in-universe like reference. I don't know. It would be weird to explain like where Doom has been this whole time, like what he's been doing.
I agree. The main thing is,
Not the point, though.
A lot of people seem to freak out after the 4th episode because a lot of critics have gotten like the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But I think there's something that happens at the end of the fourth episode where like Marvel fans will freak out. I don't think it'll be like a character we've already been introduced to, because apparently they're all saying this is a very like out of the MCU type of show, even though it is in it.
Yeah, I kept seeing people say that it's not in the MCU, and I was like, then why am I watching this?
No, it's definitely in the MCU. It's just not.
Of course
like,
it is.
It's just not forcing references in your face constantly.
And it just shows how, like, again, it doesn't have to be connected to literally everything that's happening. I like that they're showing in a way what normal life like looks like for people.
To me, I think it would have been somewhat fine to have it like one little reference within the first episode, at least, when like Ethan Hawke's character is talking about like these powerful men. Like he talks about Hitler, I think he talks about Nero, and then like it could have been cool if he brought up like
Thanos.
If he just brought up Thanos and whatnot, like all these powerful men trying to change the world, you know.
I guess because he was talking about Earth.
Sure. But of course, Thanos had a huge presence on Earth. That's where he lost. 2, where he also did the snap. And then, of course, half of existence got erased in that moment. It's not necessary, of course. But I would like
all that is to say that the being that he's talking about is a judge of human souls. So I get why Thanos didn't pop in the writer's mind.
Sure. And
I also would have thought that's a cool reference or something about that of being like, who are the Avengers to judge us even?
No, it's interesting. And I think it's a 6-episode show. These critics have seen the first 4. Apparently we will freak out at the end of 4 for some reason. 5 and 6 is where we might get a little more MCU references in some capacity, at least the last episode for sure. I think somehow it's going to be connected through like, I was going to say maybe
it's probably Blade.
Yeah, I was going to say Blade and Black Knight are most likely in the last episode, recruiting Moon Knight. I was going to say it could be Black Knight at the end of the 4th episode, but again, that'd have a little bit more of a connection to the MCU, because again, like all these,
it's Morbius. Yeah, it's Morbius.
That'd be fun, because I mean, again, I think it's quite obvious they're building up to a
the Midnight Suns.
Yeah, they're definitely leading up to a Midnight Suns, which I think is going to be dope.
Dude, of course, we talked about like that'd be a property we'd want to make if we were given some kind of control.
No question, because that's where you deal with like the ultra supernatural of the MCU or the Marvel universe in general.
Well, yeah, then we get Ghost Rider, and I'm all for that.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, like just think of a team in the MCU. You get Black Knight, awesome. You get Blade, can't wait to get Blade finally. And then, of course, Moon Knight, which I've always been intrigued with that character. He's cool. Yeah. But then once we get like a Ghost Rider, and a Punisher might not fit with this crowd, but Punisher could still be cool.
Yeah, just letting Frank like go loose on fucking monsters.
But again, like Kevin Feige has some sort of plan. Like I think he was easily doing 2 things at once. Like when we got that Eternals after credits scene with Black Knight, Blade is talking to Black Knight in that after credits scene. Of course, with what we got with the end of Black Widow, we get an after credits scene there where Elaine basically talks to Black Widow's sister about taking out Hawkeye, which I think is weird how she's not really referenced at all in the Hawkeye show being in that after credits scene, but whatever. But she also recruits U.S. agents. So it's like, again, we're getting like Kevin Feige is just so smart. Like he's doing like setting up the next Avengers event with Kang. Yeah, he's doing other side things with like Thunderbolts and Midnight Suns, which are both darker things involving villains or like the supernatural. Then we're going to get the normal hero stuff with like a Spider-Man, a Captain America, a Hawkeye, which is awesome.
Yeah, you'll have the Avengers, the street level, and like supernatural.
Right. But again, just to finish off with Moon Knight, because of course we can talk about that for a long time and like what we think the future of the MCU is getting into. I love the character of Steven. I think Oscar Isaac does a great job. Like I love that last scene in the show.
Oh my gosh.
Easily one of the best scenes from these Disney Plus MCU shows.
Yes.
Because I just love that he is terrified. He's trapped in this bathroom, and then like Mark starts talking to Steven, and Steven's just like, this isn't real. And Steven's like, oh, it's real, Steven. I'm real. And then like,
my favorite line is just like, you're not going to die.
You're not going to die. Because Mark cares about Steven. Like he changed his
goldfish. He is Steven.
He is Steven.
They are the same person.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Like, again, I will say, like, I wanted to follow your lead just because I don't know the character that much. I saw it once. I saw the episode once, but obviously I thought this immediately after it was over was that if it was not Oscar Isaac, like without his like care for the character and his performance, this would not be that interesting at all.
No, sure. But
the concept, obviously the character is still interesting and like the structure is cool, but I think he brings such a charm to it that is the reason I'm mostly interested.
Oscar is for sure killing it as this role, and it's only been one episode, which is
Yeah.
unreal. I can't wait to see where he goes with this character. But I guess that's really it, Bradley. We're gonna have episode 2 here tonight. We'll probably review it at some point. Unfortunately,
I'm definitely free to watch it. We'll watch it and make the video over the weekend, most likely.
Yeah, I agree. The weekend will probably work. All right, guys, just make sure to look out on the horizon for any other MCU content we're going to be going over. Because again, we want to do eventually do a future of the MCU, like phase 4 and on, and then go back from what we've had so far. Like, I mean, again, we did the shows a little bit in this, but we want to go a little bit more into that with our phase 4 video. We want to do a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, going over every movie with like reviews, which will be a fun series we do. Yeah, just look
those
out.
Those will be long though, so it'll take a while.
Those will be long, but those are to look out for on the horizon. But then, of course, we're gonna go over Moon Knight each week, so just keep an eye out on that. And if you have any other ideas for us to do, leave your comments down below, like and subscribe, and we will catch y'all really soon. Bye bye.